then, as we start to get more votes, the percentage is probably not going to change as much, right?
Yeah. Question.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that there's an algorithm that's running against the database implies the existence of an error term. Has
An
anyone?
error term.
Yeah. In other words, since you're not actually manually sitting there and counting votes as they're split, all right, mechanistically, all right, it begs the question: is the algorithm properly operating to represent what you and I and a bunch of other people would do, which is basically sit down and hand count these votes? Okay, Alyssa's vote goes to Shang. Alyssa's vote goes to uh, Peter Liu, or
Yeah.
you're right. You get the call, and
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying. The algorithm, again, and I'm going to go back to our discussions at the beginning. There's some very smart people up at the Secretary of State that have evaluated, tested, and certified that. I keep calling it an algorithm. I just want to that's what we call it. You want to call it
a
an
lot of people do.
application, you want to call it a program.
Sure.
But the Secretary of State has, fully vetted and certified that program that we use, just like they've certified the ImageCast X, just like they've certified everything else in the system. And they've said that it tests and does exactly what you said. If we did it manually, we would come out with the same outcome as what the algorithm is doing against the data in the database.
But it begs the question, though: did anybody do that kind of evaluation for the device as used for this election? Because here's why I say that. I've been at this matter quite a while, and whatever label you put on who does what is like, okay. It's the process and the math. That's all I care about: the process and the math, and
Correct.
and that's what I'm trying to drive home with everybody. Stop thinking about politics and left, right, and all this stuff, and start thinking tech, because this digital divide is going to wreck you if you don't pay attention to it and start asking detailed questions. It's not an insult of you at all. You're a great person.
No.
I'm talking about what seems to me to be a question that needs to be asked even at the level of the Secretary of State.
Right.
Hey, did you evaluate this particular device against a real-time equivalent of you and I sitting down and actually counting? Because if there is a difference, Tim, that is an error term. And it sounds like that exists.
It does exist. Yeah, the Secretary of State has gone through the level of vetting, I believe, that you're talking about.
Okay. But you're not certain. But you're not certain.
No, I am certain that they've gone through the vetting.
Okay.
And then we have our logic and accuracy testing, which, gives some degree of testing as well at the local level. And then we have our 1% manual tally that we do. And I think you're familiar with that. We randomly select 1% of all votes, and we hand count that 1%. And we report that up to the Secretary of State. And for this election,
ranked choice voting, though, because we're talking about ranked.
And even for the ranked choice voting. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Because again, it's weird. It still needs to be checked that you can have a near exact same percentage coming out every run. I don't know. There's this popular saying, "Who does that?"
Zennie, I understand your concern. I'm telling you what safeguards are in process in place.
Out then. You agree? You agree it needs to be checked out.
You'll send me what you have. I understand what you're talking about. We'll take a look at it. I'm very confident that the system is doing it properly. That it's counting properly. But we'll we can take a look. Send what you have.
Yeah, because see what you should be able to do, right, is you should be able to go back um, and reevaluate the run again and say
Well, and
what
I
did it,
and
if
I
it's possible to do, say what did it do here?
well, we've talked about, Zenny, I think, as well as we've made the cast vote record,
Yeah,
and we talked about that, and I'll just describe what that is.
well, you're going to send me
Uh,
the information.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I can send you the cast vote record.
See, we both were supposed to send each other things, right?
It's been
What?
busy, Zenny. Okay. So the cast vote record is every single vote as we've recorded it in the database. So that's on request. That's publicly available. We can give that out, and you can see what the recorded choices were for every vote. So it's not just us looking at it. That's, for full transparency, that's available so people can take a look. If they want to run it through their statistical analysis, they can take a look at it. But that shows how all of the votes were cast in all of the different choices.